Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as we start talking in Lecture 12, we're going to be really formally moving into territory for Exam 2. Now, I want to really reinstate this idea that Exam 2 is comprehensive for Exam 1. You must know everything from Exam 1 to be successful in Exam 2. And I expect Exam 2 is really the thing that tells me how you're doing or how you will do in this class, because it's that pivotal exam here. So we're going to be talking about closed systems, doing some problems with first law. We're going to be talking about open systems a little bit later, doing some problems with the first law. And if you understand this material here, and if you do pretty well on this exam, it really indicates that you will continue to do pretty well in the class. There's still possibilities. You don't just dunk it and say you're there, but it's usually indicative. Exam 1 is not as indicative. Now, let's talk about Exam 1. Exam 1, I'll be grading, and hopefully we can get it back to you by Monday or Wednesday of next week. That's our hope. I'll be grading that with the help of my TAs. Grading things, I usually grade things paper pencil all on my own, but when grade online, it's a different beast, and so I'm going to be asking them for help. Make sure that you know that there's 4 points of extra credit up there for re-solving the exam. And if you need help on that, if you want clarification on that, you can ask me. I will give you a little bit more clarification than I may give you on a night of an exam, but I'm not going to confirm or deny that your answers are correct, because every subsection, A, B, C, every part of that is going to have points associated with it, and it's either right or wrong. So if you put down the answer as 30 kilojoules and the answer was negative 30 kilojoules and that was worth 0.5 points, you get 0 points. It's either all right or all wrong. And I encourage you to talk to other friends. I encourage you to debate and work with it. But like everything, we don't want to post it on Chegg to get the people of Chegg to solve it, because that will be a honor code violation. And I mention this because it happened before. I think it's clearly on the front page of the cover pages that you don't post on Chegg, and I had a student that did it, and then was very disappointed in the results of well, what happened afterwards. So please don't. Please work on it. Please ask me questions. I often think that the resolving of the exam, trying to work those 4 extra points, is when a lot of really good learning happens for thermodynamics. Now let's talk about a little bit about Exam 1 as I go there. Exam 1, I think the timing of Exam 1 was about where I wanted people starting getting up the way they needed to. There's some logistical issues that I have to work out, and I will be working those out in time for Exam 2. I will be also providing you with feedback, opportunity to give me feedback, I guess I should say. I know that TEVAL is at the end of the semester, but the TEVAL really only helps the next class. I want to help you. So right around when I'm going to release the exam scores, I'm going to release exam scores and also a survey, an anonymous survey that you can give me some feedback, and I'll have some questions that you can do. It is completely optional, but I do get some good information about how I can modify in the middle of the semester if need be. Okay. On exams, just to let you know, I do give generously in partial credit. I'm concerned about how well you know thermo. If you mess up a problem, or if you say, oh man, I really couldn't get let's say the work on problem 1, and then everything else kind of went downhill from there, you could if you miss the work on problem 1 and you can get everything else right, I mean, you can still get lots of points there. You can get 20 out of 25, kind of thing. So please don't think about making one mistake. I don't try to cascade or domino your errors. I try to make sure I grade you fairly. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. So that I'm assuming there might be some mishaps. There may be some things that happen there. If you wrote some good information, if you got me through your thought process, that's all going to be helpful for you. Now, there were some problems that you hadn't seen before. There were some problems you may have struggled with, and we're to see how you work through that. If that exam was totally out of left field for you, then we need to really work and buckle down and see what we need to do coming into the next exam, because I feel, and I have to look at the grades and see where I was going, but I feel like Exam 2, Exam 3, Exam 4 are kind of going to be in the same mold as this one. I'm hoping for the same time. They will get a little bit longer because we're going to be having a lot of property lookups, a lot of calculations, but I'm hoping for the same amount of time. I'm hoping for the same amount of challenge that I assigned in that exam, but we will talk about that as we get going forward here. I often, all the time here, I mention to students, if you struggled, it's now time. It's just as good a time as any to make that change, to figure out how we can do better. How can we improve? Exam 1 does not define you. Exam 2 does not define you. But after a certain amount of time, we do have to see who we really are, and that's going to be important. So I'll talk more about that when the grades are released. But I just want to mention those things right now, maybe to calm some anxieties, and to make sure that we're working towards going towards exam 2. And so the exam 2, the equation sheet has been released on Canvas, and study guide will be up there, and we'll go through the same kind of sequence that we have been before. Some assignments, some homeworks, getting you a lot of practice, doing things in person, and going from there. All right. So I'll end this segment, and then we'll go and talk a little bit about some lecture material.